Hello, everyone. Very good morning to everyone and happy Chinese New Year to everyone today. So today is Chinese New Year, and of course, I think we're very fortunate to have so many different cultures that all celebrate New Year at their own different timings. Like I say, take the cream of it all and enjoy it. Have fun with it. See what the best that it has to offer is. So, Chinese culture, of course, is a lot about the traditions that they believe in, the rituals that they believe in, or the superstitions that are there around it. They have an animal which represents the new year every year. It's the Lunar New Year. And this year, the animal that represents it is a tiger. So they say it's a water tiger that is there that represents this Chinese New Year. So, and the thing is with the Chinese is that they're very clear about what the predictions say about how it is, and then that's how that is. So the tiger, of course, is a symbol of a lot of ferocity, bravery. For us, in all significances, to take the step forward. There could be uncertainty, but there's also that royalty, magnanimity that we feel to a tiger's presence. All right. And those are all the features that we're looking at bringing forward for ourselves as well. They say it's a year also, and that the tiger represents also letting go of any evil that is there, any exorcism that is there, any evil that is there, to take the steps and let that go forward. That it could represent uncertainty. But of course, about the bravery that needs to come in face of that uncertainty is what we're looking at. And that it represents a positive yang energy. So all in all, allowing yourselves to move beyond any evil or perceptions of evil. We feed a lot of perceptions of evil and any sort of helplessness that we feel to the same regard also. That, oh, this force is too big for me to counteract. Where we feel like, okay, there is a certain amount of evil in the world, or certain people that we feel, think badly for us or do not think highly for us. There's so many people that complain of the evil forces. I don't want to get into that because that would be a whole other discussion. I am getting a complaint that my voice is very low. Is that a problem for anyone else? No. Okay, so please check your internet then maybe, Palash. And yes, so the whole point where we find ourselves vulnerable is where I want to get to today. The vulnerability that comes from our perception of what is around and how that affects us. Because everything is based on our perception, as we all know. And in relative terms, like we say, nothing is good, nothing is evil. It simply is what it is. So where is it that we actually allow ourselves to get into a cycle of helplessness at times, of vulnerability at times, is when we begin to perceive evil around us, when we begin to sense people's negative emotions or feelings that are there. A lot of times those are felt by us within ourselves, where we feel like, oh no, they don't intend well for me, or they must be thinking this about me, that about me. When you come to think of it, so much of what we end up doing to ourselves ends up because of a whole self dialogue that is happening. That maybe the other person has nothing, is not even there. So, you have a discussion or an argument with someone, and then you tiff off, and now you're lying in bed thinking, they must be thinking this. Why did I say this? Now this is going to happen. You paint a whole scenario over there as to what it is, why it is, what's going to happen next, how is it going to happen. Whereas the other person might just be perfectly sleeping. Or they're upset. So now they're going to, they've sort of just discontinued the conversation. And we have this whole rumble happening, whereas they could just simply be doing what they're doing. So where is it that we find this act of constantly building assumption and constantly wanting to correct things and overcorrect things? And anywhere where that becomes a point of vulnerability for us is something that holds us in its grips for a very, very long time. Similar to that, when we perceive good, bad, evil around us. Now, it's very important to understand that this pattern of the self, where we perceive evil or perceive bad around us, or we feel like we have to overcome it and we have to get rid of everything that is wrong. So there's also a hero syndrome that happens, right, with a lot of us. Okay, because we have if says, like, a simple way to put it is, there's some injustice happening in your family with somebody, with you, with somebody, something you face, now you have courage, whatever it may be, you wanting to correct it, you creating a lot of unnecessary battles in your life because you are going to be the propagator of change in your mind, right? Us wanting to be the hero, wanting to step in, wanting to save the world, wanting to save our family, wanting to save our kids. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with anything that we do, really, because these are all ways in which we grow. But we see this in classes, we see this in workshops come up so often, where a person has that hero syndrome, where even though there might be nothing wrong, there might be this thing where I have to save them. No, they don't understand that they're heading for trouble. Okay, and then there is a tendency to wear yourself out or to spread yourself too thin through this process, because there's not only what you're dealing with, but it's a really intense desire to help people, to help shift things, and which at certain points might require your surrender as well, because sometimes things just require for you to trust another person's journey also. Now, where does that come from? Or where does a belief or a pattern or something, where we fear black magic, or where we fear evil, where we fear that somebody is going to do something wrong to us, where we fear that somebody is too powerful, where we fear that somebody is too imposing, where we have this fear of another person, of another group of people, of another entity doing something to us, and we feel helpless. We find ourselves constantly counteracting it, or feeling like, oh, I did everything I could, but this is beyond my control. It's not to say curses, oaths, any of these things are not true, but there are ways around it. Now, there's a point where if you are finding yourself vulnerable to it or helpless to any of these things, where does that begin? This whole and why is it that everyone that might be there, everyone that's here, at a certain point, in some capacity, small or big, has felt this vulnerability, has felt that they're part of this battle that is happening between good versus evil? We have so many festivals that are based around the same also. The whole victory of good versus evil. It is something we teach our kids. It is something we bring forward. And like I say, there's nothing wrong with any of these things. The reason we pick them apart or look at them more intricately to understand what is happening is so that anything that is not serving us in this whole narrative, anything within this that might be toxic to us or others, or where we might be reining our potential in, it is just for us to recognize that, see if that is something we wish to shift, or understand the origins of it so that we are more in control. It's almost like, when sometimes, genetic testing has become a big thing now. Genetic testing, allergen testing, nobody got those done before. A lot of people are into it, more so in the Western cultures where it is a thing that people are doing. But even in simpler terms, if we look at it, when we get a body profile done, when you have a genetic illness that might be following through your lineage, following through the different generations, and you get regular checkups done, it could be blood pressure, diabetes, heart issue, anything at all. Why is it that we do it? Why is it that we want to understand it better? Is it doesn't affect how much we love that person that has it in our family or any of those aspects. It's not that it means that if there's diabetes running in the family, that everyone's going to change everything, but we build a certain awareness around it. If that happens, we get ourselves tested for it if that is the case, because that awareness that this is something that is running, a genetic test gives exactly that, right? And awareness that something is happening helps me make more informed choices about my life. So which is why we want an awareness of where this originates, where this comes from. Now, if you realize that that illness which is running in the family, if it's a blood pressure, for instance, and it is just, of course, genetic, non-genetic, but you see that it is genuinely mostly running for the people that are really, really running high on stress, that are constantly caught up in work, that are constantly doing this. You understand the cause of it, so now you understand how to regulate it better. If you understand that it's lifestyle changes, then you think about that. And if you have any tendency to similar lifestyle choices. If you see it is purely something going from generation to generation, which it generally isn't, there's always emotional component to it then. But even if that is the case, then you sort of address to that. So whatever is the case, we begin addressing that better. Now, where is this whole good versus evil beginning for us? Why is it that across cultures, across humanity, we have this tendency towards it? Because a big part of where we originate, where our soul energy originates, and this is something we do extensively, we cover extensively in the Theta class when we speak about the planes of existence. In the advanced classes where it's covered extensively, basic class, it's covered like you sort of touch through it. All right, so I'll give you a tip of that iceberg. The tip that you can use without having to get into the complete understanding of it is simply this. We all have a certain origination that comes from the fifth plane of existence, that comes from where our ascended masters come in, which is all your Jesus, Krishna, Mahavira, Buddha, Christ, whoever it may be. All right. And if you notice, there's a constant battle of good versus evil there happening. The gods and the devils, one defending the other, and this constant tug of war which is happening. It's a very ascended energy still. However, there is this constant duality of good, evil, and having to counteract the two. So it begins for all of us also at a very primal level where we constantly feel this battle between good versus evil. And then based on where our mindset is, based on our situation, based on our beliefs at the time, based on our experiences, we might or might not feel more vulnerable to one rather than the other. However, the important thing to understand is that, so one thing is that, okay, it comes from something which is a very deep-rooted source related to your own origin. So you tomorrow deciding, oh, I'm not going to get into this good and evil nonsense, probably not going to stop in your head. All right. And it comes up in small or big ways. A boss telling you something some way, something going wrong, somebody who doesn't deserve something according to you, getting it and you not getting it when you've been working hard for it. It could, we see it everywhere. Right? So let's not fight it. Okay, when we get to that point of consciousness where we have made our consciousness rise above that, then it's automatically not going to matter. It's not going to stop existing, but it will not matter. So A is understanding that it comes from something very deep rooted and there's nothing wrong with it. So, I mean, this is my perception. It could be right or wrong. But I believe the same goes for superstitions also, where, of course, somebody would have experienced something, so they might believe it more deeply. Somebody may not have. But any of these things where it's good versus evil and what could happen and what won't happen, and, where we speak about nazar or any of these things, an evil eye being cast, curses, anything. Let's A, stop fighting it. B, retaliation is not our friend. It never is. All right. This applies to a lot of things. And I'm just with this topic of the self allowing us to go with where the conversation leads us, because all of these things are very, very integral to the self and how we feel, how we perceive things, and what people have written in terms of different comments, where it's either about somebody constantly putting them down in their environment or anything of that sort. All of that translates to pointers within this. Now, anytime we see and speak about retaliation, where if somebody did something bad to me, I want to give that back. Okay, I am reacting to the situation, whether that happens in an argument where somebody shouted at me, so I want to shout back at that person. Whether it happens in terms of somebody doing something bad to me, whether it happens in any scenario, till I am retaliating, till I'm reacting to the situation, I am still giving it power, because it's like a ball being bounced to me and me bouncing it back to the wall. It is going to come bouncing back to me. But if that ball comes to me and I simply lay it down, that's it. It's done. I'm not bouncing it back and forth constantly. So I know it's easier said than done, but interaction really would help us a long way as opposed to reaction. And the third being the point where we make a conscious and subconscious choice to understand A, that good exists, B, that evil also exists, that see the fact that they coexist, that darkness is always a part of the light. It's the construct of it. It is how it is made. There is nothing wrong with it. Which makes that true in every scenario. It makes it true in the scenario of everything going on within you, of everything going on outside of you. That good and bad does not simply exist outside of me, it exists within me. Even when we work on people, when we're working on their shifts sometime. And this happens with the best of healers also. Where somebody is extremely evolved, but like I said, healers are also people, doctors are also people, everyone is a human first. And where we're helping them work through maybe sometimes a really messy situation. And much like so many of the people that'll tell us, I want to change this, I want to do a session, I want to learn. And something or the other keeps propping up and they cannot. Right? Or they'll be like, what can I do now? This one's not well, but what can I do now? I have to take care of this. Now I don't have the finances. Now I don't have the resources. I've always told people, I just told myself that if there's anyone who does want to do the, and you think they're genuinely interested and they need to, so they're sort of, wondering how, what can I, will I be able to? I'm only going to give them my genuine take on it based on their situation, but I'm happy to have a conversation with them because I have seen this 100 out of 100 times. All right. There's not one case where it's not happened. Where in fact, so many people from this daily Theta group also, when we did a few of the batches, said, listen, I'm not sure I really want to. I resonate with these concepts. I want to do the B class. I want to do the Theta class, but I don't have the money for it. It's a genuine problem. I don't have the time because I have 2 kids. I have their online schools. I have everything on my hands just now. or I want to do it, but now I'm not feeling well. I don't have the energy level to do it. I'm not sure I can sit through it. And this is the only simple piece of advice I give them. If at any point you felt an inkling to do it, if you want to do it and what you're saying is true, I urge you to only set out that intention and go like, okay, I am doing it and I'm going to let the path work out for me. You make an intention that I want to pay up to Richa by the end of the day or by the end of whatever time. I'm going to pay her fees and it's going to open up for me because I really want to do this. I'm not seeing all the participants just now, so I don't know who all are here. But I know that this has been true because suddenly I've got calls saying, I just asked my and the fund opened up for me. I just have for the basic class, but I'm going to start. I've had people sign up 1 hour before the class starts, going like, I am signing up. I do not know how I will attend this class because it's really crazy, but I want to give myself a shot. I know that now that I've registered, I'll do it. And they've ended up not only doing that 3-day class they were so skeptical about, they've ended up doing 3-week classes. I've had doctors do that. I've had people who are really ill, who are in the hospital when they're doing their class. In some cases, that is something their mind is resisting. And that's why it's coming on the physical body level as well. I've had them do the class and say, I'm so glad because instead of marinating in my own sad story of how miserable my body feels, here, because of the nature of the class, I am compelled to constantly be in a positive space. So it's always a thing about mind over matter. The minute you make an intention to shift something, to get something for yourself, the minute you truly understand that you come from a lot of light, the minute you understand that, yes, bad exists, because I started on the topic of how we've seen healers and they've come with, and we have our whole team, right? So if there's anyone having any issue within the team, we all help each other out with the sessions, with anything that is needed. And what happens is that even these healers who are superb at a very, very high level, when it comes down to the deepest issue that there is, the core of this whole situation that they may be in, suddenly they just do not have the time to do it. Suddenly they go to sleep in the middle of the session because they regressed so deep. Suddenly there will be a complete disruption and they're saying, I can't do this. We've seen this. Why does that happen? It happens because a lot of times when we get to the very core of it, a big part of that is seeing the worst and darkest part of yourself. Whether that is something that really requires a shift within you from your very cognitive point of mind. Mostly it goes back to the origin of it in this life or in another life. And it could be something bad you did, could be something evil you did. We're all going through these cycles. We're evolving as humans. We're learning. We weren't sent here just perfect. I believe we're perfect blueprints that are here to learn stuff, but we all came here to learn. You, me, everybody, we're here to learn, to evolve, to understand. So a part of that learning is going to be unlearning something we know, learning something new, finding something, some chapters very simple, finding a few concepts a little more difficult. But it's going to be a lot about embracing yourself and embracing the process of it. So even when it comes to healers who've done so much work on themselves, it comes to really evolved beings also, there is still resistance. It's a human trait. The resistance comes in when we have to see the dark within ourselves. When we find it so difficult, you guys, that sometimes we won't talk about it when it's outside of us also. right? When you're talking about something you're really scared of, whether it's the attitude of someone around you, whether it's something bad happening to you, whether it is anything else. You'll see so many times we don't want to talk about it also because we don't want to give it that energy, because it's scary, it feels overwhelming, we feel helpless under it. Okay, and this is outside of me. Imagine if I had to encounter that demon inside of me. That is really hard because we're conditioned to believe and we are good people. Now, that's the thing to understand and believe, right? Just because there is that evil within us, just because something is wrong, just because something is bad, just because we did something wrong or bad in the past, does not make you a bad person. Your journey, your growth, your evolution matters. That's why you're on that journey. But we're so scared of seeing that bad within us because it's, unthinkable that we did something so bad. Right? Oh my God, I could be this monster that I'm actually avoiding. Because we're constantly inviting mirrors around us. We're constantly, if we look at it from a karmic perspective, resolving our karma. So if somebody is really bad to us, there is a chance you were that bad to them in the past. There is that slight chance. So to see that is a very scary process, to face that. But the minute you understand that good and evil coexist, that they coexist within your body also, and that there's nothing to run away from, that you simply acknowledging it, that you simply catching that ball instead of resisting it, instead of, sort of having to hit it back, allowing yourself to catch it easily, smoothly, or allowing yourself to be hit by it and then catching it, whatever it is, but just catching that ball and putting it on the side puts you back in charge. It's so simple. It robs that situation of the power till you're running away from or avoiding something within yourself or around you, or whether that is evil, whether that is anything at all, it lingers on. So understanding there is good within me, there is evil within me, but I know that I come from light. Every damn culture says that, we're made of light. We have a part of God within us. We have a spark of God within us. You can open up any religious book that is of your choosing, and it all begins and ends with, there is a principle where God resides within you. A part of God is with you. So the minute you understand that that is also a part of me, it might be overshadowed. All I need to do is really shine that out, really shine that forward. You're ready to take charge again. All right. So we're going to do some downloads along that line. We're going to do some downloads along the line of allowing the year to be the best it can for us. Because, like I say, take every new year you get. New year, new chance to do everything, differently. It's great. All right. Enjoy the multicultural that we come from. But as for conscious steps, because those are also very important, we speak about conscious and subconscious shifts. Why do we spend half an hour explaining a concept which at a subconscious level, of course, that positivity is what we want to think about and things. We take the time to deconstruct it and explain it at a conscious level so that a conscious shift also happens with the subconscious shift we're going to do with the downloads or a B release or anything at all. But how does that conscious shift show in your daily life? Is the words and rather the actions part of what we spoke about when we spoke about thoughts, words, actions. At a thought level, everything is great, right? I understand what you're saying. That sounds great. This is something I really should think about in my life. But the action of that is so important. The action of it comes in doing that thing which you're resisting. I'm still telling you, if any of you have to get on a call, I'm going to be sitting here. There are 2-3 people I need to be on a call with after Daily Theta. Get on that call. Tell me where you're resisting. I always tell people, be honest, please. Tell me what the problem is. I'll tell you if I have a solution, if I don't have a solution. Or if you have the solution or don't have the solution according to my understanding. Rest is up to you. All right. Take that step. Do what you got to do. There is a huge difference between thought and action. So any of you that have kids, that want them to clean their rooms, that do not like a messy house, you could be thinking about a clean house for a whole month, but that doesn't translate into the house automatically cleaning itself. All right. You got to have some, super powers of manifestation for that to happen. But there's a big difference, and especially when it comes to cleaning within, the whole equation is different. So I could think about, yes, I feel like cleaning my room today. I feel like cleaning my room today. I think I should clean my room today. I really, really want to, okay? I really want to at a thought level. But when people can see it or when it actually happens is when I actually take the action. And even if I just put away one piece of paper today, I got to do that. I got to start somewhere. And the intention of it is great, but the action of it is what allows someone to witness it. So I actually need to fold those clothes, put them away, clear the desk or organize the drawer or do whatever it is that you need to do. That action is what will translate into something. I could intend to make space for somebody, but till I don't put it into action, I'm not doing it. So take that action as well. All right. Let's see what downloads come and let's flow with that. So can I download for each person here that I know and understand the creator of all that is his definition and perspective of acceptance, of understanding, and that I know what it feels like, how to, when to, and that it is safe and possible for me to accept and understand all of who I am. To accept the darkness, the light, the vulnerabilities, the strengths, the opportunities, everything that exists within me, and to understand that we are beautifully unique, complex beings that have so many aspects that add to our light. And that it is safe to now allow that light to shine from within, releasing any fear of the darkness we might encounter within ourselves. Allowing myself now to make that journey inwards, to connect to who I am, to connect to all I am, to know what it feels like, how to, when to, and that it is safe and possible for me to take steps forward in my life, to allow myself to have clarity, to allow myself to have growth in my life, to allow myself to overcome the hurdles I wish to overcome, to allow myself to reach my goals of happiness, joy, peace, success, love, companionship, anything and everything that they may be, for me to allow for those to happen without any resistance now, and allow for those to happen, taking those steps forward and allowing the guidance to come forth for me. Allowing myself to have a clarity of thought, to have an integration of thought, a clarity of thought, a peace within myself and a balance within myself as I choose to do so. And to allow myself to have the courage to take the actions forward as well. Trusting the universe, trusting myself, and trusting the higher plan that I have with my own consciousness and higher self. Allowing for things to unravel for me, to know and understand the creator of all that is his definition and perspective of divinity, and understanding divinity and what the divine aspect within me truly is, allowing myself to tap into that divine aspect, knowing that it is never too late and knowing that it is never too little or big, that spark within us is our own, is for us to grow with. And that as I choose to tap into my strengths, knowing and understanding that every person has their own unique strengths, that we all come from strength, that we all come from light, and that it is our choice to move from light to light. I release any vulnerability to any darkness, any black magic, any exorcism, any fears that I have allowed to envelop me for too long. As I choose to take charge of my life now, as I choose that no matter what it is, and without the need in me to get into the whole brain candy of it, I simply affirm and make the choice of choosing the light within me at every given stance and opportunity, and choosing that I want the light to shine, knowing what it feels like, how to, when to, and that it is safe and possible for me to tap into my strengths now, to play my strengths forward, feeling joyous, feeling confident, feeling comfortable, and knowing that even as I start taking one step forward each day, that the journey automatically starts. That I acknowledge myself for the journey I have made forward, for all the evolutions and the shifts that I've made, for all the learnings I've had, to have a gratitude and positive affirmation towards it, to allow myself to take those learnings and implement them in my life forward, releasing the need within me to cling on to the trauma and the drama, and to play that forward in my life, to allow myself instead now to go from victory to victory, to go from clarity to clarity, to allow myself to truly progress forward as I take the learnings from all the situations and evolutions I've been through so far, and know what it feels like to acknowledge the journey I've made so far, and to implement those learnings into my present and future, to know and understand the creator of all that is his definition and perspective of communication. That I know what it feels like, how to, when to, and that it is safe and possible for me to communicate my needs forward in a manner that is balanced, in a manner that is heard, in a manner that is truthful to who I am, where I allow myself to interact within situations, within conversations, releasing any need within me to constantly battle good and evil, releasing any need within me to get defensive about the same, that I allow myself to be in integration with who I truly am, and in complete and whole integrity with my true nature, that I allow my highest potential to play forward now, to know that I am safe, that I am secure, that I'm ferocious, that I'm courageous, that I am regal, that I am amazing, and that I am beautiful, and that I allow myself to shine forward now, that I choose the light. Would you like this download into every cell, atom, molecule of your body, every area of your life, at all four levels of your belief systems, in any and every language ever known or understood by you, for your highest and best, and in your highest and best manner? Say yes to receive this download. Saying yes, feeling the energy of this download, feeling energized, feeling powerful, feeling integrated. Whenever you're ready, simply open your eyes. Okay. I see some eyes open. All right. So, an incredible new year to each of you. Simply allow yourself to move forward. This is not what I had planned for today. In fact, I was like, okay, Chinese New Year, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Then I realized it was mostly about the rituals of the day, which of course are different in every culture. So people may or may not end up following it, but I guess the creator had a plan around it. And this is what unfolded, but it gives us a deep understanding of the self. So the simple takeaways being interact as opposed to react, understand that good and evil exist. Simply that understanding will give you great amounts of power, will give you great amounts of peace, honestly. Knowing that it is not a power struggle, it is not a struggle between good and evil, it is not a fight that you have to fight. Sometimes something is just what it is. This is what it is. There is Nothing more to it. All right. So understanding that it simply is what it is. There is good, there is evil. That's it. Simple. All right. And allowing yourself to move forward, knowing that that power is within you and choosing that power at any given point in time, taking the actions forward also that feel necessary to the same. We're starting the batch of Be Happy today at 1 o'clock. It's a smaller batch, so I think it's incredible because it becomes automatically a lot more customized. At a certain point, we were not doing smaller batches. This time, we're really getting the guidance to go ahead with the batch that is coming. So, which is why we're going to go ahead with it. And in fact, it's going to be taught by mom and me, which does not generally happen. It's either one or the other teaching it. So we're both going to be doing it. Any of you that are interested in it, get in touch with Mehak. And if the need be, then she'll process it forward to me. And just simply whatever the steps are for you, take them forward. And I'll see you, some of you in the afternoon and a lot of you tomorrow morning. Okay. Have a beautiful day and Happy New Year. Bye bye.